Hello, and welcome to today's episode. We're going to be sticking with the Iran-Israel conflict, and specifically today, why the conflict has shaken the entire global economy. Because it can't have failed to escape everyone's attention that every time Iran and Israel exchange fire, global markets shudder. Oil prices surge, currencies wobble, investors panic. The news anchors, they start reporting breathlessly on how the world is about to enter the biggest recession since records began. But here's the real question. Why should a missile launched between two countries that don't even share a border have the power to shake your wallet in Texas or Tokyo, raise food prices in London, or tank the markets in Mumbai? What does a drone strike in Isfahan have to do with your next electricity bill in Berlin? The answer? Everything. Because in today's world, war isn't just waged on battlefields, it's waged on balance sheets, on stock markets, and in energy exchanges. Let's begin with geography, specifically the Strait of Hormuz. A waterway that is just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. But it's what passes through it that has everyone exercised. And that's 1/5 of all of the world's oil. Let me say that again. 20% of all global oil shipments move through this single choke point. And who sits right on top of it? Iran. Iran doesn't just border the strait, it controls the leverage. And the entire world knows it. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, all of them rely on this slim artery to get their oil out and their cash in. So if Iran even threatens to shut it down, markets lose their mind. And they've done it before. They've mined the waters, seized tankers, escorted warships, and yes, they've said it out loud. If you bomb us, we block the strait. Because if Iran can't sell oil, why should anyone else? Now here's something they don't teach you in Economics 101. Oil markets do not trade on facts. They trade on fear. Oil is bought and sold as futures, meaning traders are gambling on tomorrow's oil today. So when there's a drone strike on an Iranian military site or Israel threatens retaliation, traders panic. Because even the slightest perception that supply might be disrupted, a blockade, a missile, or regime collapse leads to immediate price hikes. Brent crude, for example, once jumped $5 a barrel in a single day. Not because supply was cut, but because the markets asked the question, will this escalate? And in the Gulf, the answer is almost always, it could. So it's not just oil in the crosshairs, of course, it's also global shipping. Tankers, containers, bulk cargo. Much of the world's trade, especially between Asia and Europe, passes through this region. So when the conflict heats up, ships don't just delay, they reroute around Africa, away from the Red Sea and out of range. We've already seen it. The Houthis, an Iran-backed group in Yemen, targeted vessels in the Red Sea. The result? Delays, insurance spikes, rerouted freight, and yes, higher costs for everything from smartphones to sneakers. Imagine, if you will, a full-blown war. What happens then to global supply chains? This, by the way, isn't just a thought experiment. It's an economic nightmare scenario. Here's what the money people don't like to say out loud. Markets do not care about justice. They care about stability. So when countries like Iran and Israel flare up, even slightly, investors flee risk like rats from a sinking ship. And where do they run? Gold, up. US dollar, up. Treasuries and bonds, up. Middle Eastern currencies, down. Stock markets worldwide, right down. Especially anything tied to travel, logistics, or energy, because uncertainty breeds volatility. And volatility, well, that kills investment. But let's be honest, not everyone loses. In fact, for some industries, conflict is a jackpot. And your winners are defense contractors, drones, missiles, cybersecurity people. They love a regional war. Big oil, high prices, high profits. LNG exporters, Europe scrambles for alternatives to Middle Eastern energy. Ka-ching. And the losers? Oh, that list's a lot longer. Airlines, for example, fuel costs soar. Retailers and supply chain heavy industries, delays equal losses. Tourism, dead on arrival. Ordinary consumers, everyone pays more for everything. Groceries, flights, electricity, all of it gets more expensive. Because when oil rises, so does the price of life. Now let's go one step further. Imagine, if you will, Iran develops a nuclear weapon. Israel strikes first, Iran retaliates. The Strait of Hormuz is shut down, the Gulf ignites. And suddenly, oil hits $200 a barrel. Not my theory, by the way, that was Goldman Sachs' projection. And if that happens, recession everywhere. Your mortgage goes up, your groceries skyrocket, markets crash, because the world doesn't just depend on oil, it is addicted to it. And let's not forget the sanctions game. Since 2018, the US has tried to choke off Iran's oil revenues. But here's the irony. When tensions rise, those same countries wonder if they should ease the sanctions just to bring oil prices down. And meanwhile, China buys Iranian oil under the table, smugglers operate shadow tankers, black markets thrive. This is not enforcement. It's a shadow economy sustained by geopolitical double standards. And what's the result? Inflation globally, because oil fuels everything. And when it's expensive, everything else becomes unaffordable too. So let me leave you with this. A drone strike in a desert, a missile exchange over disputed skies, and somehow that leads to empty shelves, sky-high rents, collapsing currencies, and a world holding its breath. This isn't just a Middle East conflict, it's a global economic fault line. You may not live in Tehran or even Tel Aviv, but when bombs fall between them, you pay for it, at the pump, in the market, at the end of every paycheck. Because in our interconnected world, conflict travels faster than missiles and hits harder than any bomb. Thanks for watching, and if this helped you make sense of what's happening, give it a like, leave a comment or subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going. Because this isn't just news, it's a warning. With that, good luck.